So Terence Crawford has put out on his social media that he is currently in the process of bulking up for the Canelo fight, and at the moment he is walking around at 186 pounds on the dot. This is interesting, and yeah, I think it is definitely probably the right idea for him to probably focus on this. Getting ready for the Canelo fight instead of having a fight before, as he is naturally the smaller man than what Canelo is. But that said, I don't think that the weight for this fight, for Crawford against Canelo, is going to play into effect like people actually think it will. Because look, we're going to go through what Crawford's, weighed in on fight day in his past fights. And really, I feel like he'll be able to make 168 pretty easily, if I'm being honest with you. Already being at 186 pounds, but I don't think that's actually too far off of his walk around weight anyway, if I'm being completely honest. If we look at, what he's been weighing on fight night, I mean, in his past fights, we look at when he was fighting at 135, allegedly, remember to, keep that word in your mind before I'm about to say a few things, but is Terence Crawford in a way a weight bully? Like, that's what I've got to say. Allegedly, Terence Crawford might actually be a weight bully. And I've got a few things here which I am going to go through. So, say a few things here. But this ain't to slate him off or anything. My point is, I don't think the weight's going to, play as much of a factor as people are saying it is. And I think Crawford has more of a chance than what people actually do think. And what I will say before I do get onto this, I feel like, Crawford bulking up through the weight classes, which he's done so far, I think, he's doing it in an all right manner. But I do think when he was fighting at 135 especially, he was struggling to make the weight at a point. And when he was fighting at 147 as well, we saw him at the weigh-ins. He was killing himself to make that weight, like he was. And it looked like he also had to, from what we saw, what he weighed on fight night, he probably did have to cut quite a lot as well to actually make 154. So that's interesting again, though, in my opinion. So, allegedly, remember that word. When Crawford was fighting at 135, in a few of his fights on fight night, he weighed in at 153. So he's gained 18 pounds. I mean, again, it seems like, he's kind of killing himself to make that weight again. Like, it seems like it is a difficult weight cut. I feel like, he's probably doing it in a healthy manner. But either way, though, it does seem like he's going, that he was going quite far in order to really try and make the weight, though. That's the thing. And 135, especially as he went on and on and on, it was getting harder and harder for him to make. He seemed a lot heavier than his opponents on fight night. Again, allegedly as well, something I'm going to say is that he was 8 pounds heavier than what Errol Spence Jr. was when they fought. That's not me making an excuse for Errol Spence. I honestly don't mind that. I honestly didn't mind who won out of those two. But yeah, I'm just saying, Crawford allegedly weighed 8 pounds heavier than what Errol Spence did on fight night. So again, that is showing that he is quite a lot bigger naturally than these guys at his weight class. So, obviously, when they were fighting at 147, he was Crawford was allegedly 165 pounds in that fight, which was 8 pounds heavier than what Errol Spence apparently was. So that again is something which is interesting, and also shows as well it's probably not going to be difficult for him to make 168 at all for the Canelo fight, and it's not going to play in a big factor in the fight, because let's be real, they're similar height. Crawford's actually taller than Canelo. I'm not sure about the reach, but I think Crawford nicks that as well. Weight wise, yes, Canelo has got the bigger frame than what Crawford does, 100%. But either way, though, and when they walk around, Canelo is naturally a bigger man, and he's naturally a bigger fighter, and that is still the case. I'm not saying that it's not, but my point is that Crawford can definitely compete at 168 against Canelo, and the fact that people are saying, oh, this is just a cash grab for Crawford. It's not at all. Like, he's serious and can make this weight. I don't think it'll be overly hard as well. Also, as well, the last factor, which loads of people were talking about, by the way, is when Crawford actually fought at 154, he was actually 1 pound, just like 1 pound, 0.2 heavier than what Madrimov was. Apparently we saw Terence Crawford on Fight Night weigh in at 169.8 pounds on the night, which was a 16.4 pound gain. And then you've got Madrimov, who weighed in at 168.6, and he gained 114.6 pounds. So again, Crawford's gaining more weight than these guys, and Madrimov, apparently, from what people are saying as well, and Madrimov was fighting at a higher weight class, but it seems like Crawford is naturally a bigger guy than what Israel Madrimov is. So again, Crawford's bigger than what people think, and he's outweighing his opponents on Fight Night. There's not really one example of Terence Crawford ever being outweighed when he's fought. So again, that is something to take into consideration when he's coming into this Canelo fight. He's going to be outweighed by Canelo. Yes, Canelo's naturally bigger. But, as I said, my point is that Crawford can compete at this weight, and overall, the weight's not going to affect him too much anyway. When he does weigh in at 168, Crawford is probably going to weigh in at on Fight Night at probably like 186. That is possibly what can happen, and that is again quite a big weight gain after the weigh-in. So it's just normal stuff for Crawford. I think him being 186 already, it's good for him to keep training at that weight, as Canelo is the naturally bigger man. So it is smart for Crawford to be bulking up. But again, I don't think this bulk up is extreme as what people think. Yes, he needs to bulk up a few more pounds, probably, but I don't think 186 is actually too much off what Crawford naturally walks around at anyway. So people ruling Crawford out of this fight because of the weight, I think is stupid, because again, arguably, Crawford in a way is kind of a weight bully. Like, it's nowhere near extreme as the Devin Haney's and stuff of boxing. But, you get my point. In a way, you can argue and say, oh yeah, Terence Crawford actually might be a weight bully here. And it makes the Canelo fight even better, to be fair. Like, the fact that this is being said, it makes the Canelo fight better. And the fight can really be, it is skill versus skill instead of just the weight playing a massive factor in the fight. Because I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a skill for skill matchup. Whoever's the more skilled wins. Whoever's the more clever guy wins. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching. Speak to you on the next one.